You've met him before. Maybe he was your friend. Maybe he was your father. Maybe he's you. He has a spark in his eyes. He dreams big, talks bigger. He's full of ideas, creativity, vision, but he never quite delivers. He's magnetic. He draws you in. He talks about the novel he'll write, the business he'll start, the world he'll change. But when it's time to act, he disappears. The man who never grew up. He's in his 30s, maybe 40s, still sleeping in late, still broke, still figuring things out. And the world, it's always to blame. Wrong time, wrong people, the system, his parents, you, everyone except himself. This isn't about laziness or stupidity. He's brilliant, even gifted, but he's stuck emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. Carl Jung called him the Puer Aeternus, Latin for eternal boy, the man-child, trapped between youth and adulthood. An adult body with a child's psyche. Jung saw again and again. In myths, in patience, in culture, a pattern so old. It might be written into us. The Puer Aeternus is charming, imaginative, magnetic, but he's also avoidant, fragile, fearful. He floats in possibilities, but never lands in reality. Always becoming, never being. He talks of potential, of what he could be, what he should be, but never what he is. He's preparing for life, but never living it. He fears failure, fears mediocrity, fears growing old without greatness. But in running from failure, he guarantees it. In avoiding routine, he avoids mastery. In rejecting adulthood, he stays a boy forever. He's in all of us. You might recognize this man, or parts of him, in someone close, in someone distant, maybe even in the mirror. This video isn't an attack, it's a mirror. And if you've watched this far, that mirror is already showing you something. So let's go deeper. Let's understand this man-child, not to shame him, but to set him free. Why he's so irresistible. The Puer Aeternus can be mesmerizing. He's light, spontaneous. He seems free, and freedom is intoxicating. He doesn't care about the rules. He's above it all. He's chasing passion, not paychecks. Magic, not monotony. He's the rebel, the visionary. He makes the illusion of freedom. He runs from structure, from commitment, from boundaries. But that's not freedom, it's fear. Dressed as freedom, he avoids jobs because they feel like cages. But it's not the job, it's the responsibility. He avoids relationships because they feel like traps. But it's not the partner, it's the intimacy. He avoids decisions because they feel like loss. But it's not the decision, it's the permanence. So he floats, untouched, unrooted, unclaimed, and over time, that freedom becomes a prison, the cost of potential. He could have been great. He still could be, maybe, but the years pass. And maybe becomes a burden. People stop listening, stop believing, stop waiting. And he starts to notice that he's not becoming anything. He's just existing, dreaming, talking, repeating, and he's alone. It's not just his story. The Puer doesn't suffer alone. His friends feel drained. His family feels disappointed. His partner, if she stays, feels abandoned. They try to help. They offer support, advice, love, but nothing sticks. Because deep down, he's not ready to change. And worst of all, he makes them feel guilty for asking too much, for pushing too hard, for wanting him to grow. But the truth, they're not the problem. He is the eternal boy in the real world. The Puer wants the perfect job, the perfect woman, the perfect moment. And when reality doesn't match the fantasy, he leaves, he ghosts, he disappears, he blames. He says, the world just isn't ready for me. But really, he's not ready for the world. Jung's warning. Jung warned of the Puer Aeternus, a man disconnected from time, always waiting, always delaying, always saying, not yet. He lives in someday, but someday never comes. He avoids the present, because the present demands something from him, and he's not willing to pay. But it doesn't have to stay this way. The pure doesn't have to be a prison. It can be a phase, a shadow, a wake-up call. If it's faced, if it's named, if it's integrated. But it starts with a hard truth. You can't fly forever. Eventually, you have to land. And that landing, it might hurt, but it's the only way to grow. Coming up next, in the next segment, we'll explore the dark side of the man-child, how he sabotages not just himself, but everyone around him, how charm turns into chaos, and freedom turns into destruction. We'll go deeper into Carl Jung's idea of the shadow, and what happens when the eternal boy starts to rot from within. If you're ready to face what lies beneath the charm, stick with me. And if this spoke to you, like this video, leave a comment below what part hit home. And subscribe because the next chapters may be hard, but they'll be real. See you in part 2. Segment 2. The shadow of the eternal boy. Charm fades. Freedom cracks. The sparkle in his eyes, it starts to look hollow. This is where the eternal boy begins to break. Not loudly, quietly, from the inside out. The shadow always follows the light. Carl Jung taught us, the brighter the persona, the darker the shadow. In the Puer Aeternus, he shines bright. He's witty, dreamy, inspiring. But underneath, he's hiding something he won't admit. Even to himself. Fear. Fear is the engine. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of responsibility, fear of growing up. Not just fear of growing older, but fear of becoming ordinary. So he keeps running from structure, from decisions, from relationships. He says he's not ready. He says he's figuring it out. But what he's really saying is, I'm scared. How the shadow looks in real life. You've seen it. Missed deadlines, late night existential rants, jobs quit after 3 weeks. Projects abandoned halfway. Breakups just when things get serious. Bills unpaid. Phones unanswered. But there's always a poetic excuse. I just need time. I'm waiting for inspiration. The world doesn't get me. And at first, it sounds deep. But after a while, it sounds like deflection. Because it is. The shadow corrodes. Slowly. The eternal boy stops being magical. He starts being exhausting. At first, he lights up the room, but then he starts missing the room entirely. He cancels. He forgets. He ghosts. And it's not malicious. It's unconscious. He can't sit in the discomfort of real life, so he floats away. He doesn't just hurt himself. He hurts others, partners, friends, family. They believe in him. They see the potential. They hold on. But over time, they're not holding on to a man. They're holding on to a shadow, and shadows slip through fingers. Relationships with the eternal boy, they start intense. He sweeps you off your feet. He listens deeply. He writes you songs. He cries during sunsets. But slowly, he stops showing up. He avoids serious talks. He pulls away when you need him most. And when you ask why, he says you're too intense. You expect too much. You're holding him back. But the truth, he never wanted a partner. He wanted a mother. Someone who nurtures without demanding. Who accepts without questioning. Who stays, even when he's not showing up. Jung's warning. The devouring mother. Jung described another force at play. Not just the eternal boy, but the archetype of the great mother. She loves him. Protects him. Feeds his potential. But she never lets him grow. Sometimes she's his real mother. Sometimes it's his partner. Sometimes it's the fantasy of the one. But always, she keeps him emotionally dependent. She means well. But her love becomes a cage. Because when someone else is doing your emotional work, you never have to grow. The pure doesn't realize he's trapped. To him, it feels like freedom. But really, it's regression. He's retreating to the womb, to safety, to comfort, where nothing is demanded of him. And if you try to confront him, he'll turn on you. Not with rage, but with sadness. Like victimhood. He becomes the hurt child. And you're the villain for asking him to grow up. But The shadow has a breaking point. Eventually, reality knocks. The money runs out, the partner leaves. The friends stop calling, the dreams die, and he's left alone. In the echo chamber of his own excuses, this is the moment. Not of ruin, but of awakening. Because sometimes the bottom is what saves us. Waking up isn't easy. The eternal boy must face the one thing he fears most, himself. He must admit, I've been hiding, I've been running, I've hurt people. That's not easy, that's painful, that's shameful, but it's also the beginning, integration, what the pure was always for. The eternal boy is not evil, he's not your enemy. He's your creativity, your spark, your imagination, but he was never meant to lead. The problem isn't that he exists, it's that he's been in charge. Integration means you don't kill the boy, you hold him, you contain him. Let the man lead. Let the boy inspire, and you, maybe you see yourself here, maybe you see someone you love. Either way, this isn't about blame. It's about clarity, because clarity is the first step toward change. What's next? In the next segment, we'll walk into the fire, the symbolic death of the Puer Aeternus. We'll talk about grief, loss, and the pain of becoming an adult. You'll learn why growing up isn't just hard, it's heroic, because facing yourself, that's the bravest thing a man can do. So if you're ready to go deeper, like this video, subscribe to this channel. Comment below. I'm ready to grow, because the journey continues. And so do you. Segment 3, killing the eternal boy, the pain of growing up. There's a moment, a quiet, haunting moment when the dreams fade, the promises break, and the boy inside starts to panic. This is the breaking point, and for the eternal boy, it feels like death, the collapse of fantasy. He told himself, I'm special. I'm destined. It's just not the right time. But now he's 35, 40, still living with roommates, still chasing the perfect opportunity. But perfection never came, because it never does. And one day, he wakes up, looks in a mirror, and realizes time is passing, and he is not becoming. The grief hits, not suddenly, but slowly. He mourns. The dream that never took flight, the love that never lasted, the talent that never matured, the person he thought he'd become. This is real grief. It doesn't scream. It lingers. It whispers, you've wasted time, and it hurts. This is the death Jung spoke of. Carl Jung called it individuation, the birth of the true self. But first, a death is required. Not of the body, but of the mask, the illusion, the boy. And death, even symbolic death, is terrifying, because it means letting go of the lie that kept you safe. You are not who you pretended to be. That's the hard truth. The one no one wants to say. You weren't blocked. You weren't misunderstood. You weren't waiting for the right time. You were hiding behind dreams, behind charm, behind avoidance. And now, finally, you have to stop facing the void. Once the fantasy dies, you're left with silence. And in that silence, you meet yourself. Not the imagined self, not the genius, not the hero. Just you, flawed, aging, unformed. It's humbling. It's crushing. It's necessary. Because only from here can you begin again, rebuilding from the rubble. The first brick is truth, then structure, then effort. You wake up early when you don't want to. You do the job when it feels beneath you. You pay the bill. You keep the promise. You choose one path and stick to it. You build slowly, steadily, brick by brick, and it's not glamorous. No one claps. No one posts about it. But for the first time you're real, structure is not your enemy. The eternal boy fears structure, routine, responsibility. He thinks it kills creativity. But it doesn't, it channels it. Creativity without form is chaos. Vision without effort is delusion. Freedom without roots is drift. To bloom, a tree needs soil. To fly, a plane needs a runway. You need a container. Not to shrink you, but to hold you, from fantasy to fulfillment. What the pure seeks: meaning, purpose, love, can only come after the death, not before, because fantasy is wide. But fulfillment is deep, and depth requires commitment, discipline, patience. That's what real men build, not castles in the air, but homes in the real world. You're not losing the boy, you're integrating him. He doesn't die, he evolves, he becomes your muse, not your master. You'll still dream, still imagine, still create. But now you'll finish what you start. You'll stay when it's hard. You'll act even when it's boring. Because you've grown. This is the rite of passage. It's not a retreat. It's not a book. It's not a TED Talk. It's the quiet, brutal, liberating act of finally taking your life seriously, of choosing structure, choosing truth, choosing to show up every day, even when no one's watching, especially then. And you might be feeling the grief, the shame, the fear. Good, that means you're awake. Now, it's your move. Will you collapse back into fantasy? Or will you stand, shaky but ready, and start again? Coming up next. In the next segment, we'll dive into the final metamorphosis, the rise of the integrated man. You'll learn what happens after the death of the boy, after the grief, after the fear. We'll explore how the eternal boy transforms, not into a cynic. Segment 4. The rise of the integrated man. You've torn down the illusion. You've buried the eternal boy. You faced the mirror. Now, it's time to rise. Not as the child you were, but as the man you're meant to be. This is the rebirth. The man doesn't replace the boy. He leads him. The boy isn't gone. He still dreams, still imagines, still wants more from life. But now he has a guide. You are no longer a collection of hopes and hurts. You are direction, focus, action. And for the first time, you don't just feel potential. You live it. How the integrated man thinks. He doesn't chase fantasy. He builds reality. He doesn't fear limitation. He thrives within it. He doesn't run from failure. He learns from it. He doesn't seek permission. He gives himself responsibility. And he no longer sees freedom as escape. He sees it as discipline, because a free man is a self-led man. From inspiration to implementation. The eternal boy said, I have a vision. The integrated man says, I have a plan. He sets a routine. He honors commitments. He makes peace with boredom. He understands that mastery is repetition. He knows passion is the spark, but perseverance is the flame. So he shows up every single day, even when it's hard. Especially then. Relationships, from fantasy to depth. He doesn't look for a savior. He looks for a partner. He doesn't idealize. He sees. He supports. He stays. He communicates even when it's awkward. He listens even when he's tired. He loves even when it's work. Because he knows real love is built through seasons, not snapshots. Legacy becomes the driver. The eternal boy wanted applause. The man wants impact. He thinks about tomorrow, about the world he'll leave behind, about the values that live on after him. And when he fails because he will, he doesn't spiral. He recalibrates. Because he doesn't fear failure. He fears regret. Structure is now a source of power. The boy saw structure as a cage. The man sees it as a tool. He uses routine to protect his time, boundaries to protect his energy, discipline to protect his focus. He no longer asks, what do I feel like doing? He asks, what's worth doing? No matter how I feel, that's power. What real freedom feels like. It's not sleeping in, or cutting ties, or rejecting rules. Real freedom is knowing who you are, doing what you say, trusting yourself to follow through, being present, not restless, creating, not just consuming. It's not escape, it's ownership. The inner child still speaks, but he doesn't lead. You still have wonder, still daydream, still laugh. But you're rooted now, you're reliable, you're whole. The boy brought color. The man gives it canvas. Together, they create. This is not perfection. It's alignment. The integrated man still stumbles, still doubts, still has hard days, but he doesn't collapse. He recalibrates. He keeps building because he knows the work is never done, but the direction is clear. He's no longer floating, he's becoming. And you might not be there yet. Or maybe you're just beginning. That's okay. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next honest step. Start small. Be consistent. Keep going. This is not a transformation that happens overnight. It's one that happens every morning. When you choose to rise again, your time is now. If something stirred in you, if you saw yourself in this story, then it's time to act. Not tomorrow. Not when I feel ready. Now, choose structure. Choose discipline. Choose growth. Not because it's easy, but because it's who you're becoming. Before you go, if this video resonated, like it, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs it. And comment below, I choose to grow. Because words are the first step, action is the next. You've buried the boy. Now rises the man. You are not behind, you are beginning. And that is everything.